And welcome to the home of the Marion Indians. Tonight, the #1 team in Class 3A. Western Dubuque puts its 7-0 record on the line against the Indians. The Bobcats are coming off a 20-14 win against Xavier last weekend in Dubuque. It's also Marion's senior night. The Bobcats and the Indians, week 8 of the high school football season. Up next on MC22.
To Logan Wolf, captain, 7 play 75. To A.J. Green, Marcus Orr doing a nice thing as Cale O'Neill on the kick. Very next possession.
And welcome to Marion High School, week 8 of the high school football season as the Indians play host to #1 ranked Western Dubuque. Good evening and welcome. Rob Brooks along with Jerry Koala. And what a spectacular football game it was last week up at Western Dubuque. The Bobcats defeated Cedar Rapids Xavier. That was long anticipated after last year's championship matchup. But now that is over, and the focus is on week 8 against Marion Indians team that has struggled so far this year.
Certainly it's not been the season that Marion would have loved to have had, but as soon as the season is over, they'll get right back to work on next year. And for this Western Dubuque football team, they want to go that next level up of a repeat of last year. They've got the team that can do it, and we'll see them on display tonight.
Yeah, and certainly a lot on the line tonight for the Bobcats, and a good place to start for them is at the quarterback position. Calvin Harris really runs the show, throws it when he needs to, can take off and run, but the type of guy you want at the quarterback position.
Yeah, he's definitely a proven athlete in multiple sports, but as a football quarterback, he runs the option very well. He throws the ball nicely. He has a good group of receivers to throw to, good running backs in the backfield. He certainly makes the show go.
Yeah, baseball is his #1 sport, but tonight the focus is certainly football. And for the Marion Indians, Connor Whalen, a two-way player, has made plays on both sides of the football to lead the Indians this year.
He leads them in receiving, going to have to be there again tonight. I think Marion's going to have to really be able to throw the ball tonight, short passing, medium range passing, but he will be the focal point of that. We'll see if they can get it done.
All right, the Indians and the Bobcats up next from Marion on MC22. High school football on Mediacom MC22 is brought to you by McGrath Family of Dealerships, 5 Seasons Tire, the Tom Riley Law Firm, Klinger Paint and Interiors, Heartland Hearing Center, and by Extreme, powered by Mediacom. Welcome back to Marion as we get set for #1 Western Dubuque and the Marion Indians. Hard to believe, but already week 8 of the high school football season. Much nicer Friday night than we had dealt with last week out at Kingston. There are the Indians on senior night.
30-mile-an-hour winds and a temperature that were in the lower 40s. Certainly a very difficult night for high school football. If you're a player, you're fine. If you're a fan, it's a little bit more difficult. But you're sitting around in it. But, you know, in October, you know, it goes up and down. The weather fluctuates quite a bit.
Keys to the game for the visitors first from Western Dubuque. What is important for them tonight?
Well, as the #1 team in Class 3A coming in, they need to continue to perfect their schemes, both offensively and defensively, as they, you know, look for a couple weeks from now when they get into the playoffs. And then they got to put in a full effort tonight. They know that Marion is 0-7, and sometimes it's easy to not give your full effort, and that's when problems can exist and injuries can occur. So they need to give a full effort tonight to come out and play the game.
And how about for the home team?
Well, let's see if the Marion Indians can come out and get that ball control going. They need to try to find some kind of a running game, mix up their plays a little bit, maybe get that Western Dubuque defense off balance a little bit. And then we talked about Connor Whalen in the open, being able to get the ball out to him. And then they got to contain Calvin Harris. That's the big key for that Marion defense, is if they can control him, they might be able to keep this Western Dubuque team down in the scoring column.
And I'll throw in there, hang on to the football. Turnovers have been big issue for Marion as they've changed offenses this season, and we'll have to make sure they keep those to a minimum. Justin Penner, you see what he has done at Western Dubuque, and has a terrific senior class, and a bad taste in their collective mouths from losing the championship game last year, and on that track to get back to the Dome this year.
Took care of that revenge game last week. You got to hope that they can take it up another level once they get into the playoffs and return to the Dome for the championship game. And
Tim Lovell in his 4th season now, after taking over for Tony Perkins back in 2016, and had a couple of winning seasons at 5-4 and 6-3, and had a pretty good ball club last year at 4-5. Always just have been on the cusp of getting into the playoffs, and that was certainly the hope this year, but has not worked out that way, as Gabe Ulrich will do the kicking and punting duties both tonight.
Now, is that a brown football shoe or a brown soccer kickoff shoe, Rob? Usually you see them in white and black and maybe red, but not brown.
And week 8 underway, and Chakota, as the ball bounce on the turf, good speed, having a tough time getting away from those white jerseys, and eventually his forward progress is stopped by Jackson Berger. Sometimes you'll see a player back there fumble a punt or a kickoff, and that'll open up some holes, but not that time. Good pursuit by Western Dubuque.
Unless he has, 9 flat speed in the 100-meter dash, he can get around to the outside.
And he's pretty quick.
Should have just cut his losses and went north and south, maybe getting it out to the 10-yard line, 12-yard line, but they'll start at the 6.
So Dane Karstensen gets a start at quarterback. And this will be maybe a yard for the fullback, Lucas Unson. Karstensen and Unson, outstanding baseball players. Unson hit .300 for the Indians this past summer, and Karstensen, one of their top pitchers, 5-3 with a 1.61 earned run average. And Jerry, not easy to completely revamp an offense, going from the spread to what effectively is the old wing tee, but you're trying to adapt to your personnel. Karstensen on the move. He's got good feet and gets out past the 10-yard line. That'll bring up 3rd down.
Well, it's a veer attack where it's an outside option. They don't run option on the inside where they dive back right over top of center, between center and guard, so they go outside the tackle. You see Dane just coming out to the near side. He was going to keep this all the way and follow the running back as a blocking back. Pick up a couple of 5 yards. It can be a very effective offense, and at times it can be very punished. So you have to be able to work the good with the bad.
Bryant on the stop, 3rd and 5. Here's the pitch. And the ball is loose, and Western Dubuque says they have it, and they do.
Well, you just talked about turnovers hurting the Marion Indians this year.
Really been a problem area for the Indians this season.
And this is a nice play. It's a sweep action to the left.
Yeah, Ryan Paulson.
He just had it stripped out of him as he was getting to that cornerback on the outside.
Looked like Ben Bryant was the one that pounced on that football. So exactly what you don't want to do to one of the best teams in 3A, ranked number 1. Give them a short field as Calvin Harris goes to work. And he'll hand it off to Ben Bryant. And he slips through and gets into the end zone.
Ben Bryant, the ball carrier.
So just like that, Ben Bryant, who's rushed for 318 yards, carries this one for 20. And Western Dubuque strikes first.
Just a read option play to the left side. He slips through that offensive defensive line. Not very good tackling by the Marion Indians to get him at the offense at the point of attack. And once he gets to the next level, he's on the move to the end zone.
in to attempt the extra point kick, number 1.
So again, they've done this off of a turnover. I think this is what, as I had looked into what the Western Dubuque has done all season long, defense has given them, their offense, excellent field position where they haven't had to run a lot of plays to score a lot of points. They've just been very effective at it.
Ulrich boots through the extra point, and Western Dubuque takes advantage of the Marion turnover and turns it into a touchdown by Ben Bryant.
You can see the offensive line play to begin with was really good, and then it just took Bryant a few seconds to find that opening, and he slipped through there and threw a few arm tackles of Marion Indians, and he gets into the end zone for another score for himself on the year.
So Bryant averaging 6 yards per carry. That's his 4th rushing touchdown of the year. Also might mention that Jake Hush, outstanding running back and defensive player for Western Dubuque, not in the lineup tonight due to injury, and he is right at the 500-yard mark offensively, but also is big on defense as well, has 28.5 tackles from his linebacking position.
When you talk about Hush, a year ago he ran for 197 yards against this Marion football team, and that win in 32 carries. So certainly a big loss of talent and productivity in this particular game without Hush, so they'll just have to find other ways to get it done.
And hopefully he can get back soon. There's those shoes you were alluding to.
Well, sure. I mean, I think they're kind of spiffy. But if they're comfortable for him and they get him to that teed up football and he can put a toe into it, more power to him.
Ulrich boots it away. And this one into the end zone will not be returned.
Sails into the end zone. It'll be first and 10.
A little better starting field position for the Marion Indians.
Yeah, so going back to this Western Dubuque defense, they hold teams down underneath 100 yards rushing, and they don't let them pass very well. So it's what championship caliber football teams are made of, is solid defense and a very productive and a scoring offense.
Well, Xavier only rushed for 78 yards last week and threw for 95. So couldn't crack that 100-yard mark against Western Dubuque defensively last week. Flag comes out.
And the thing about that is, Rob, Xavier is very well known for its defense too. So you had two solid defenses going at it. It was just which offense was just going to be able to punch a hole to score against the other.
20-14. Western Dubuque won that game, but Xavier was driving and had a chance, threw the ball up into the end zone last play of the ball game. But that's, I think, only round one. Very good possibility those two teams will meet again. But now, of course, Western Dubuque, they want to finish undefeated and have that district championship all to themselves. Lucas Sunson, a good athlete and a good running play off the left side after the 5-yard penalty against Western Dubuque.
That's the veer I'm talking about. Look at the left side. He goes right off that left tackle. You got a defensive tackle pinned inside. You hand it off to your fullback. If you see that and the defensive end doesn't crack down, you got to hand it off right now and give your running back a chance to get through there and find his way. And they picked up some significant yards.
So you can see Connor Whalen we've talked about, Chakota, Ryan Paulson, Munson, as well as Carstensen. Many players can touch the football, which can make this offense tough to defense.
If you can mix it up and keep that defense at bay and get a couple nice big plays in there, gain some momentum, could get some rhythm going and have a chance to score some points. Something Marion hasn't been able to do all season long, and nobody expects them to have it happen here tonight except themselves.
Here's Chakota with very good speed, but can't turn the corner as he is wrestled to the ground by Carter Kleesner. Going to have a penalty, though. That's going to go against the Bobcats.
I'll tell you what, William Conlon gave great chase to Chakota on that right side. Couldn't catch him. He dashed through that line of scrimmage. He didn't realize how fast Chakota was until he got around that corner.
He can run.
Had a 15-yard face mask penalty onto this.
Helped out the Indians. One of their state track championships. Won back-to-back state track titles in 2017 and 2018. Karstensen, and nowhere to go as he tried to find a hole, and he is brought down from behind. Nice play by Cole Phillips.
In any option play, Rob, it's all about that mesh point. It's all about timing. It's all about consistency when you do run the play.
Dustin Willey, where's number 91, has had just a terrific season with 6 tackles for loss solo. And he's gone up against a very good competition.
He's out here on this defensive end, this left defensive end position, Rob. You can see he's long and lanky. Those are the kind of athletes that college coaches are looking for.
And I think you'll for sure see him on an all-state team. First pass attempt of the night is incomplete. He's tried to get it out to C.J. Anderson, who's got 3 for 56 so far this year.
Nice quick hitting play out to the outside. If he can catch that, even picks up 4 or 5 yards, wiggles his way downfield, they make positive yardage out of it. This is, one of the things that has hurt Marion. Now they got 3rd down and long and almost a forced passing situation.
And that play is set up to get, as you said, 4 or 5 yards. Then 3rd and 5 looks a lot different than 3rd and 10. They go to the other side. This is Whalen. He turns the corner and gets very close to that first down marker. Connor Whalen, leading receiver. That's his 11th catch of the year.
This is good play calling this came from the press box. They're noticing that on the wide side of the field. They're just getting single man coverage out on the left side, and that's exactly what Connor Whalen got, was that single coverage out there from Bryce Plessel. Let him go one-on-one.
And the Indians in Bobcat territory. Here's a pitch. Chakota did a good job just to catch the football, and then is wrestled down at the 40-yard line. Will Conlon leading the charge for Western Dubuque.
Well, that's the other part of the option, is once you fake the ball into the line of scrimmage and draw linebackers, defensive end, whoever, you pitch it out to your running back right away. Now the quarterback is the 3rd option in this as well. It's just like a regular triple option, if you will. You got to dive back. You're reading something in the inside, either hand it or pull it. You look down the line of scrimmage as you go down for that defensive end to crash. If he crashes, you're faking it, and then you might pitch it. It could be beautiful if it works.
Pass across the middle, and it is incomplete. Whalen got his hands on it, but a well-designed play.
I loved it. I loved it. Watch this, a fake sweep action. Watch this, fake. Now he turns. He's looking for Whalen, who runs a nice post pattern. Has it in his hands. Got to get your hands on it, squeeze it.
Get those hands extended. Go out and get it. Then bring it into your body, and that's one we would certainly like to have back.
No doubt. Squeeze that ball. I mean, that puts him at the 20-yard line. So they might be 0-7 round, but they're certainly working hard at improving.
Here's the reception. C.J. Anderson. That's his first reception. C.J. Anderson, a junior wide receiver at 6'1".
Now you really got to credit this coaching staff from Marion. They know they can't do anything deep. They don't want to go deep. They want to do the short passing routes, get 7 yards, move the down marker down and get closer to the first down. You got receivers out there who can catch it, and Western Dubuque is cooperating by giving them plenty of cushion on the outside.
And what's that also do with a nice drive like this? Keeps that Western Dubuque offense on the sidelines.
That's exactly what that ball control key was, is to keep that Western Dubuque offense away.
Hogan with that last stop. Indians on the move. Karstensen goes deep.
We saw them do that with a guy by the name of Blair Brooks a few times a few years ago.
Once or twice, huh?
Absolutely. Yep. You know, and the thing that Carstensen has to do, I didn't mean to interrupt him there, Rob, he has to throw it downfield as opposed to throw it in an angle toward the sideline. Throw it because his receiver had a step on the defensive back.
Yeah, Wyatt Cannon.
And that was on 4th down. So they ran 10 plays, Rob. They started back on their own 20-yard line after the kickoff goes into the end zone.
Something to build on for sure. Indians did have a close call against center point Urbana. Lost that game here 7-0. Jackson Berger, his first carry. Paulson able to corral him.
Just a read option play, hands off to Berger, just following that offensive line.
Pass out to Will Birds, who's had a terrific season and keeps fighting for yardage. Tough guy to bring down. Will at 5'10", 190. Really stepped up offensively this year for Justin Penner's team.
They needed another playmaker, and Penner goes to Birds here. Will Birds caught 3 passes last year. I think he's up to 30 this year on the season. But he's become a playmaker, which they need one more to take him to the next level at the state level.
Ben Gibson stretching out. 1st and 10, Bobcats. Calvin Harris, the Ole Miss baseball recruit. Under pressure. And delivers it to DeSoler, who went upstairs to get it. And boy, he just got rid of that in time. Felt the pressure from the backside.
You can tell he's a catcher. Catching the way through that ball. Look at the command he has on this throw. This is a long throw into a wind that's going across his face. Rolling out to his right, he just snaps it off. Nice spiral. But even on top of that, that's an excellent catch by DeSoler on that outside.
His 6th of the year. Lacasse with that pressure. Back to the ground game. Berger. And touchdown saving tackle from Connor Whalen.
You know, that's what they've been able to do, mix it up. Good big plays on the outside to pass his plays. And so you got to widen that defense, and then you come up with a real quick hitting play right through the middle.
Harris hands to Berger again, and he plows right up the middle into the end zone. 6 on the board for the Bobcats. 2 possessions and 2 TDs.
You can see how good they are, but they have that confidence, built into them. But you can see how big and strong they are too. That offseason workout program has really enabled them to get to this point. You just see the size of these offensive linemen, and I don't mean at 6'4" and 280. I just mean the size of their girth, their shoulders, their arms, their hips. It means a lot. For 2 ways. You get power, and the second way would be anti-fatigue type fitness.
Ulrich, he's now 30 out of 34 in extra points. So Western Dubuque 14, Marion nothing, 5:24 left to go in the first. We'll be back. Jackson Berger, his 2nd rushing touchdown. Only had 20 carries and 111 yards coming into tonight's game. But that backfield had been pretty crowded with the likes of Hush not playing tonight, and also Ben Bryant. Plus Harris can run the football. Connor Whalen on the move out to the 35. So that's a good return. More good field position for the Marion Indians. See if they can continue to capitalize on the good things they did their last offensive possession.
That's nice blocking right here. You see Berger overruns Whalen, but Connor showing some good wheels right up through the middle. That kickoff coverage team get out to 35 for Marion.
The third Whalen to play football here at Marion High School. Ryan and Alex, other two. Alex, really an outstanding football player. Chakota. And he is wrapped up by Dustin Willie, who we've talked about.
Kind of an illegal shift. Those two wingbacks neither one were set at the time the ball was snapped. Only one really needed to be set. The other guy could be considered in motion, but they were both moving when that ball was snapped.
Well, that's not an easy thing to do either, Jerry, with the senior players and the junior players that maybe got some varsity experience last year to go from a spread look
5 yards on the penalty. The ball was spotted.
to the veer. Even though you spend time in the summer, time in fall camp, that's a transition for sure.
Well, you know, really, you can just make the veer your running game and still use a lot of spread offense if you want. I mean, the veer can be run out of any formation, an I backfield, a split backfield, and they're in the wing backfield here.
And the catch is made. Nice job by Wyatt Cannon to go up and get that one, knowing he was probably going to get hit from behind.
You knew it exactly, and this is just a short drop and a quick 5-yard pass play downfield. Nice job of catching it. Make it back to 5 yards, lost on the legal shift penalty.
Colin Hogan.
It's Ryan, it's Ryan.
Cannon, 13 receptions this year.
Isaac, you're in the route.
He's also played quarterback.
Yeah, make that 13 completions. That's his fourth reception of the year. And the deep ball. And almost picked off. Whalen, the intended receiver, but Bryce Wessel probably had the best chance to go up and get it.
Well, you know, that really makes that defense be honest and honor the pass. Here's another fake sweep, and it's a bootleg action to the left. And the receivers both ran good routes. This isn't a bad route at all. Maybe a little underthrown to Connor Whalen, but he had to make that pitch fake, and he had to bootleg out to his left and get into a spot. He's 8 yards deep already, and he has to throw a long ball. And it wasn't a completed pass, but it was really well executed.
Arstenson. He's got a good arm and also pretty good speed, and he takes off and going to get first down yardage out close to midfield.
Absolutely. What a wonderful run by Dane Karstensen. Rolling out to his left. He had three receivers that were out to the left, and that just takes the whole defense with it, and he just cut back against the grain. You'll see this. He's got good footwork. Nobody to throw to, so he cuts back against it. And all the white jerseys, most of them were off to the right, so he was able to make up the big yardage for the first down.
Cam Kleesner knocked him to the ground, but not until Dane picked up 14 yards. And that's going to push the Indians back. We talked about turnovers. Penalties for the Indians as well. Especially a couple on this drive have hurt the Indians.
You could try to mix up their formations and their style of play with various motion people, and get some thrown off a little bit, get some a little antsy at the line of scrimmage.
Back to the air, and it's caught. Whalen has to twist and turn for a couple of yards after he secured the football.
So he picked up 6 on the short yardage passing play. Just a real quick curl route. There he stands.
And Marion really hasn't thrown the football all that much so far this year, with just one player with 10 or more receptions here week 8. But they've been effective with the passing game so far. Here's Chakota. They try to get him going and gets to the 50-yard line before he is brought down by Nauman.
Well, that is some speed with those linebackers. Watch Nauman, you'll see him come into your picture here right there. He'll just track down Chakota. What looked like a nice play to begin with is to the wide side of the field is closed quickly by those white jerseys.
Just good side-to-side speed. So 2 for 4 are the Indians. 3rd down conversions. Need 8 here. Karstensen pumps, eludes, and takes off, and gets close to the 45-yard line. And if he didn't slip, might have been able to get by one more white jersey.
Yeah, he was looking to make a cut against that cornerback who came up to bring him down. He slipped to the turf. Nobody to throw to. He's using the short side of the field, you know, which with that extra defender there really closes things down. But he saw that opening and just slipped to the ground.
Cam Kleesner made sure he was down. Good pressure by Dustin Willey. That forced Karstensen out of the pocket. And the Indians will punt. Joffrey Murphy. If you follow soccer at all, you know his name. And the ball on the ground, and it looks like the Indians have come up with the football. Ryan Paulson. After a punt of 26 yards, it's coughed up.
Well, now even the Marion Indians can create opportunities for themselves. Not a very good punt, and you see right there was Dane Karstensen. He may have just caused the return man, Will Birds,
to not take one more step to get underneath the football.
Just misjudged it a little bit, yeah.
That was kind of a wobbly punt by Murphy, an all-state soccer player, one of the best players in the state.
He should have called this dead.
Flag back at the 31.
And I say that because the running back had moved before the ball was snapped. He's trying to get off the ball quickly. I think one of the things that they have been working on, is getting off the ball.
You see Wyatt Cannon running in the play. Tim Lovell wants. Chakota gets down to the 15, and there's some energy with this Marion offense.
In that sweep action, the previous plays, the linebacker had been able to knife through. This time they got him blocked, and Chakota was able to find that opening. You'll see that usually there's a linebacker racing through there, but there's no linebacker there because he's being blocked. And Chakota, with that speed, finds that opening in that gap and runs to the 15 for a first down. Well, we'll give him the benefit of 11, Rob.
2nd down and 4. Nice fake by Karstensen. Fires toward the end zone, and the ball is caught by Whalen at the 1-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal for the Marion Indians.
Whalen come all the way across the field. Karstensen really does a nice job as a quarterback of faking, of keeping those linebackers at bay because they have to honor the run. Watch this. He fakes that pitch. Now he's going to drop back. And he's able to look downfield, find a receiver. Just happens to be Connor Whalen.
And he's an outstanding pitcher. So you know he's got a good arm. Watched him pitch a couple of times this summer for the 33-6 Marion Indians baseball team. Karstensen trying to get it in himself. Reaches the ball over. That's always dangerous. going to say at about the half-yard line.
Boy, that is a hazard. I thought he initially got over to begin with because there was such a good push. He only had 2 yards to go.
Maybe not even that.
Watch this push right here in the goal line. This is a nice shot. Campbell worked for Mediacom.
Now watch him reach across. That's not even close.
He's a long ways away, isn't he?
Sure was. Dangerous. Well, try it again. And this time, he is in. Touchdown, Indians.
That's some kind of determined effort. After the turnover, take advantage of it. Move that ball downfield, get it in the end zone. A little quarterback sneak. Didn't have very far to go. Got enough yardage for the TD.
So Murphy for the extra point. High snap. Got it down and got it through. So Murphy connects on the extra point. Indians fired up on the sideline. 14-7 Bobcats. Dane Karstensen hits a rushing TD. And it was a lot of his running that spurred on this drive.
And everything else he can do with that football. He's very deceptive as a quarterback. He gives nice fakes, as we talked about, those sweep options or those sweep plays where he fakes the pitch, gets the flow of the defense going, gets those linebackers to hold, they're looking for run, and then allows your receivers to get open. And he's got good vision downfield, and he throws a nice ball. They can keep that going. They can keep this Western Dubuque defense unbalanced, off balance through most of this game.
Ben Bryant back deep.
There you go. Good catch. Good catch.
And Murphy with a very strong leg.
Well, Western Dubuque's going to have to work into this wind right in their face, and that's a pretty stiff wind with that American flag in the north end zone standing straight out. It's not a small flag, it's got a lot of weight, so you can tell the kind of power that wind has to keep it erect as it is.
At least 15 miles an hour out of the south. Western Dubuque heading toward the south end zone. Harris fires out. This is Birds, leading receiver for the Bobcats. Gang tackled at about the 28-yard line.
So they're going to loosen up that Marion defensive backfield a little bit. They're going to keep that ball on the underside. Now Birds out there, out in that left split end area. Just we've seen this. A lot of teams run that very same play. Quickly get it out to him. He's got one blocker. He just picks his path.
Harris goes deep, and it is caught. Terrific reception by Wessel, but he did step out of bounds.
Wow.
Otherwise, that's 6.
That's impressive. You know, that's such a quick thing. He's in the shotgun. He just take a step back of the play action. Just put it up in the air and let your receiver run underneath it. It's exactly what needs to be done, is let that receiver run directly downfield and lead him downfield, make him run for it.
Bryant. Gibson. Good to see him back in the game.
Well, they're balanced. They have playmakers. Here's a read option. Ben Bryant just looking for some space to run through.
Gibson leads Marion in tackles of 35.5. Also recovered a fumble this year. Bobcats on the move again. Berger. And he's been pounding away. Gibson again there for the Indians.
Right up the middle. There's the handoff to him just to read option. And it is an option because you see the quarterback is looking at the defensive end. If it wasn't an option play, he would have just given it to him by looking at the running back.
And the Indians take timeout here early in the second quarter.
And the thing that does is it causes a lot of, you have to have a lot of discipline as a quarterback. I mean, sometimes you're going to hand it off and hand it off and hand it off before you pitch it.
All right, let's go. On the far side, Tommy, we ran smoke twice in a row and you didn't come. Okay, we said we were going to repeat calls. We don't have to call it. You don't get a call, what do you run? Same thing again. All right, that was the one that Dane got laid out on. It was close, but you got to get tighter. We got to get pressure, okay? So pick me up right away. That's all I'm doing is stack 6 messing with smoke 6 messing. Okay, get those linemen low on their thigh pads. Stay low. Drag it up. Hit them low. Let's go. Hey, stay low.
Ray Riesland. Been around the game of football in all sports for a long time.
Certainly has. He's had his head coaching experiences, and you know, and everywhere you go, you always pick up something new from your coaching staff and the players around you. So you always add that to your arsenal of knowledge.
Tim Lovell played collegiately at Cornell as well. Harris completes that one to Kleesner. Cam Kleesner.
Marion on an all-out blitz up the middle. It was picked up nicely, and Harris had to retreat out to his left. And he does the unselfish thing here. He could have run the ball for as far as he passed it, but he knew that they would advance the ball better by him throwing it out here to the left side. Does a nice job of getting it out to Cameron Kleesner.
Here on the move is Birds, and he gets down to the 5. Tackled by Ryan Paulson.
Going from left to right, up the middle and run, left to right, run, pass maybe. So they're really making this Marion team react. But Harris, as we talked about, such an efficient quarterback. And I think it really comes from his ability to play catcher. You know, you're behind the plate. You're managing 8 other players.
And right up the middle into the end zone. That's a touchdown for Ben Bryant. Pretty good size hole up the middle.
Yeah, they make it look pretty easy. They get some, you know, the right kind of line blocking. They do what they need to do. It goes back to me saying at the beginning of this game, they need to continue to perfect their schemes because they're going to have to put these things to good use against teams. They're going to have similar records in the next couple of weeks on their way to that dome if that's where they want to go. So they have to play perfect football.
Ulrich for the extra point. Perfect. And it's 21-7.
What it isn't is 21-0, and I think that's what many people expected this game to be at this point. I think Marion has shown a lot of grit here in this game so far.
Well, the Indians will be right back on the offensive attack. 9:51 left to go in the second quarter. Bobcats by 14. Pink out for the Marion Indians student section. They always, like many, pick out a theme. Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Final home game for the Indians at Cedar Rapids Xavier next week. Western Dubuque take on Makokata. And it'll be 1st and 10 for the Indians. C.J. Anderson. Bryant for the Bobcats carried the ball 5 times for 61 yards and has a couple of touchdowns, which raises his season total to 5.
And again, they're without their big running gun and Hush, but with that development of depth, they gain a valuable experience.
Now Jackson Berger is there to get into the mix. He was playing behind the 2 that you mentioned, and that's going to push the Indians back 5, and been too many of those here in the first half for the Marion Indians.
Well, obviously they didn't know what the snap count was. Quarterback was moving, slot back was moving forward, and the center still had the ball in his hand. Was it on 1? Was it on Hutt? Was it on quick count?
First and 15. Karstensen. Ball a little bit outside. Connor Whalen, the intended receiver, slipped on the inside. It'll be 2nd down.
Didn't really have an angle to get it to Whalen on the outside. Linebacker was dropping right into his line of sight, so he was trying to put it in an area where maybe Whalen could get up in the air and snag it, but not to be. Carter Kleesner, as we talked about, he's wearing number 22. He's their leading tackler on this football team. He plays on the outside here. Outside linebacker.
And had a terrific game against Xavier, was the Dubuque Telegraph-Herald newspaper athlete of the week. Chakota tries to bounce around and runs into a bevy of white jerseys.
You know, Chakota, if he could see this from where our vantage point is, if he knows that he could cut back against the grain, if he'd have cut back in about 30-degree angle, because Marion did a nice job to seal that right side and a kick out. If he cuts right back, he's got himself some running room.
But that backside pursuit's been very good for Western Dubuque so far tonight as well. Third and 15. And some 3rd down conversions. See what Karstensen can do. Field opens up for him. He spins. Going to be very close to a 1st down. It looks like initially that they might give him this 1st down.
Well, do a nice job running that bootleg. He fakes that running play that holds those linebackers, gives those offensive linemen a chance to block, get locked onto a defensive lineman, and Karstensen's got good wheels, but he's got great deception. He gets to the outside. He has all the room in the world. He didn't have any receivers to throw to. They were both covered, running an out and a flag. He just cuts it back right up through the middle and back against the grain. I think he's got the 1st down.
Looked like he was going to be a little short. He spotted the ball. That looks to be inches.
Wow. Oh, if it's that close, come on. You know, don't you have gimme putts out there within 4 or 5 inches,
Well,
Rob?
with some.
Depending on who you're playing with, huh?
Exactly. Some guys like to give 4 or 5 footers. Others nothing.
Make you earn it.
But the Indians have gone for it on 4th down every time they've possessed the ball here in the 1st half.
They got to be disciplined or you get up the line of scrimmage, get that ball snapped and drive forward.
It's usually been Karstensen doing it himself. This time he does it initially. Doesn't get it, but then I think he's going to get enough. He didn't need much, as you saw, and that should be good enough for a 1st down.
Got the push from the backside. His running back came and hit him from behind just to move him forward. You know, that's a pretty good size defensive line in the middle of that defensive line for Western Dubuque. Cole Phillips, 5'10", 225 pounds, number 74. And then right in the middle is Jonathan Sable, 6'3", 250 pounds.
Karstensen back to the air, and this one's picked off. Carter Kleesner inside the 15.
He just reached up and snagged that out of the air.
Sure did.
I think Dane was trying to get it over top of him, trying to get it right away to Whalen. Just didn't get it high enough. Just a quick drop. Carter Kleesner in the right place at the right time, just made his initial drop is right there in that flat area. Sometimes they get so surprised that the ball's coming at them, they sometimes drop it. Not him.
Well, he's recovered 3 fumbles this year, but this is his first pick of the season.
Carstensen brings him down, but not until he gets to the 15 of Marion.
Another player that's had a terrific season. And the ball on the turf. Alvin Harris jumps on it, but back at the 21-yard line.
Just lost the handle on that. As he was trying to pull away from the center. I don't know what he was really trying to do. It looked to me like he was going to pitch the ball to his fullback, but he must. I think the right guard pulled and knocked it out of his hand.
Did the smart thing and just get on the football. Live for another play. Harris directing traffic, and he can take off and run with it as well. Whalen brings him down, and we do have a flag way back at the 26. And it's going to be holding on Western Dubuque.
Well, sometimes they say there's a reason why a quarterback can escape the way he does and then pick up the yardage that he does. There's a guy by the name of Epinesa that feels that about every time that somebody snaps the ball against that Hawkeye defense. And they're not even disguising it. You know, what are you going to do with a guy that's 6'6" and 200?
Yeah, make him call it, I guess.
Pounds.
Harris has 167 yards rushing. 6 rushing touchdowns is an impressive stat. For me, for him, is 17 touchdowns, thrown just 1 pick. On the move is Bryant. We'll get to right outside the 25-yard line, so a good pickup. As he is brought down by Carter Scott after a pickup of 11.
Well, this is just a little quick hitting play to the outside to see what kind of yardage you can pick up. They gain 11 of the 31 needed back.
Hand off to Berger. We've got another flag after Carstensen makes the tackle. You can see a lot of two-way players for the Indians. It's going to be a face mask against the Indians. Now what they needed there with 4th down upcoming. Harris now 6 for 6 through the air for 87 yards.
Certainly not an intentional face mask penalty. Nobody ever really intentionally. It's just when you go to tackle, sometimes your hand grazes that face mask and you get your fingers in there somehow or other.
Away, yep.
You know, you just see that head twist a little bit, and it's an easy call for the official.
So that's 1st down. 1st and goal for the Bobcats. Berger slicing into the end zone. Was stopped short. Powered his way in. 6 more on the board for the Bobcats.
That's the kind of determined run you want all your running backs to have, is you're not going to get stopped by anybody. Watch how determined he is with this run. He'll get hit. He just keeps driving forward and getting those legs moving. He's not going to go down until he's in the end zone.
Boy, is he taking advantage of his extended playing time tonight. Ulrich tries to stay perfect. And he does.
See it right here. Just a read option play. They did a nice job of middle of that interior line blocking to the left. He went that way and saw the opening back to the right. He just made a quick adjustment with where his position was.
Yeah, Berger, 5'9", 180. Keeps those legs going. Ended up 4 plays, 15 yards, but some penalty yardage in there as well.
See, it goes back to me, you know, when I was doing the research on this Western Dubuque team, I was seeing they don't have a whole lot of yards, really, to think about it. So then you start looking at their defense, not giving up many yards per game, so they were putting their offense in good field position to be able to put points on the board without having to go a long length of the field. And that's part of that. You come up with a turnover after the interception by Carter Kleesner. They just took it the rest of the way.
Well, Xavier fumbled 3 times, lost 2 of them. Against Western Dubuque last week. So it's been an opportunistic defense. And talking to Coach Penner, a lot of players quietly have had very good seasons. The ball now is loose. And Western Dubuque has come up with it. Sawyer Nauman.
Yeah, the return man that was nearest to him didn't really even make an approach to it. I'm not quite sure what his thinking was, and you'll see the ball's coming down right here. Pichota, I think he thought it was going to roll toward him, and it bounced straight up in the air.
And then by the time he made his way down there, I think that was Carter Kleesner that bumped into him, and Nauman came up with the recovery. So Calvin Harris and company back out there again, throws to the end zone, and this one is picked off. Guess who? Whalen again. That's his 4th pick of the season.
Nice coverage, had him deep in the end zone. There wasn't much of the back of the end zone to use, and I think this pass was just a little bit underthrown by Calvin Harris, but look at Connor Whalen. Being a receiver that he is, he has the timing and judgment to be able to make interceptions like that because he makes catches like that.
And Connor was limping toward the sideline. So he's going to be attended to. Hopefully he's okay. Four picks for Connor Whalen this year.
That's a huge loss if he cannot return.
He's been all over the football field here tonight. But if you're Justin Penner, 2 turnovers.
I wouldn't be happy. Especially with a team that is as quality as it is.
Indians on first down. Lucas Unson.
Needs to keep it tighter. He's widening it. That veer, you got to go right off that tackle's rear end where he is when he lines up, not where he is after the play gets going. So the wider he gets, the more chance the defense has to get there.
Unson now over 60 yards for the season. Pickup of 1 there, 2nd down and 9. Hutchinson the whole way at quarterback. Fires deep. This one is caught. What a grab by C.J. Anderson.
Outstanding from the get-go. Again, they had to honor the sweep action to the right, and all Carstensen does is just bootleg out to his left, and he does a nice job to put this up in the air downfield where C.J. Anderson can run to get it. So there's no fighting with the defensive back to get that football, who can tip it away. If maybe I can catch it up, and he catches it in the air.
Anderson with only 3 receptions coming into tonight. And Unson. That's 5 the hard way.
Absolutely, but they picked up 5 after a 44-yard gain on that pass completion. Robbie, you got to keep right on going, get a play in there, get up to the line of scrimmage and go. I mean, you don't want to let this Western Dubuque defense be able to get set up and kind of recover.
Little grass in the face mask of C.J. Anderson. Terrific catch. Here's the pitch to Paulson. And he's drugged down by Birds at the 30.
They talked about the very, you're going to get some good plays. You're going to have some punished plays, but you just got to keep coming right back and running it. Western Dubuque just happened to have the defense set up for it beautifully. The linebacker defensive end on this side, you can't see either one of them, but there they are. Cornerback had come up. Did a nice job to get it back to the line of scrimmage.
3rd down and 4. Tim Lovell. This offense doing some nice things. They did have a very good offensive output against West Delaware early in the year. Carstensen, he'll take off and is greeted. Tough kid, could take a hit.
See him rolling out to his right. He's got the 3 receivers up on top, and they're all running the separate route. The only one that would have been open, there was a guy right in the middle. He had just run a curl right and just stood there. But by that time, Dane had already committed to running.
Carter Kleesner came up to greet Dane Carstensen. Brother Owen was a very good running back here at Marion.
We had a number of good running backs, and the family names do carry over.
A lot of former players in attendance here tonight for the Marion Indians on senior night. Don't forget to join us for Talk Sports on Tuesday, every Tuesday at 6:30. Kevin Dolan and myself throughout the football season, and the coach, Kevin Lehman, will join us late November, early December. Football season gets in full swing. Give us a call. Love to hear your comments on whatever is on your mind in the world of sports. 6:30 on Tuesday. Well, there's no doubt what Marion will do here. I don't think they'll punt all night.
Not at this situation, especially when you're at the 27-yard line of your opponent. They need to move the splits down, and they need to drive forward.
Carstensen under center. And he's going to take off and run, and it's going to be good enough for a 1st down, but there is a marker back, might get the Indians for a hold.
I like the formation. They spread it out. They caused the Western Dubuque defense to spread with them. I thought they should have just driven forward. You have 5 offensive linemen blocking against 4 defensive linemen. Do the 1-yard quarterback sneak. Get a fresh set of downs. That's unfortunate.
Carstensen has thrown for 82, 6 out of 11, and rushed 10 times for 41 yards. And Marion's only touchdown tonight. How about this? Now for Murphy. He's got the leg, sends it toward, and it's good.
What a decision.
55-yard field goal by the All-State soccer player, Murphy.
And Tim Lovell, the first one out there to meet him on the football field with that high bump. That's a nice kick. Good snap, good hold, and he just drilled it. The benefit of a little bit of a wind behind him. But you can see the drive he has in that leg, the way he strikes the football. It's got power.
Well, that'll help pump up a team. Murphy, only 1 for 4 in field goal attempts so far this year. Made one from 33. That's when you have to get into the Marion record books.
For sure. What is the state of Iowa? 65? A young man from Ankeny?
Yeah, I want to say it's over 60 anyway.
Look at 65.
So Murphy unleashes again. He's pumped up after that kick, as he should be.
Kicks it out of the stadium. But that's a good thing. You don't want Western Dubuque to have any chance to get a return and some good yardage. They're going to start on their own 20-yard line.
And Marion does a terrific job of keeping all of their records. Book about maybe 60 pages thick.
Do they? I know I had a
pretty good history of Marion football.
A couple of years ago, I had a program of theirs that had the football records in it.
And that one knocked away. Dane Karstensen, boy, he could have got his hands on that one.
He was going for the interception. You could see, and I think he did get his hands on it. He read it nicely. I mean, those are places you got to try to jump. If you can see it coming, yeah, you can. If you're close enough in there, now they've given distance now. He's got a 6-yard cushion out there with the wide receiver.
Plenty of time, and the ball is caught by DeSoler. Out near the 35. That's going to be good enough for a first down.
See, Connor Whalen's back in for Marion, but you can see he's not full health. He's limping on that left leg. Must be up in the hip area, or maybe his hamstring or in the buttock.
After that interception in the end zone, Ben Bryant out close to midfield. Isaac Chakota with the tackle. Chakota plays outside linebacker, has 26.5 tackles, 3 TFLs so far this year.
Well, look at that leading offensive line group with Ben Bryant right behind that, dancing his way.
Berger. And he is brought down by Chakota.
Chakota's fighting off a block. He's fighting off the block, moving to the left to string it out as far as he can, and so Berger realizes he has nowhere to go, but he has to go forward. Watch this. It's being strung out. At the bottom of your screen is going to be Chakota right here, fighting off that block to get to him. Harris sends the ball into the hands of Will Birds. Wide open. That's what makes Western Dubuque so dangerous. They do so many different things. We've seen so many different running plays and so many different rollouts and dropbacks, patterns that are being run. They've been effective. Good tempo on offense for the Bobcats. Wants to go deep. Incomplete. That had Plessel open. Seen that play before, and it went for quite a distance last time they ran that play. 29-yarder down the same sideline a couple of possessions ago.
Hey, kick of the year, baby.
Bobcats go 3 wide.
That might be a school record, Duffer. Pass! Ball!
Ball is caught by DeSoler. Yeah, he's been big tonight. Only caught 5 passes coming into this evening, but that's a pickup of 12.
Harris with some excellent time to throw. The receiver's running the right routes. He finds the curl route for 12.
And Whalen brings him down. Here's Bryant. That play strung out nicely by the Indians. Chakota once again.
He's getting everywhere. Of course, he's on the wide side of the field, so that's the strength of their defense. But he does a nice job to not let anything get outside him and make the tackle if he has to.
That's caught. Cam Kleesner.
Just doing the little things is what Western Dubuque is. If there's nothing deep to try to get that ball in the end zone, all right, we'll take the 12-yard pass play. Little fling to the near side, sideline, pick up some significant yardage. They needed 12 and got 13.
They've been good at that tonight. Little inside screen, and Birds on the move and into the end zone. Touchdown, Western Dubuque. Play of 14 yards.
Yeah, you called it right. It was that split-end screen, and he pick up the blocking to the inside at first, and then he just darted back to the outside where they're sealed on those cornerbacks for Marion, and picks up the touchdown.
His 11th receiving touchdown of the season.
See how he has good vision of the field. He found that opening, and he's got excellent footwork and speed to get there.
Very good defensive player for Western Dubuque. This year and last year has really stepped up on the offensive side of the football, and the extra point is no good.
Well, again, they needed an extra playmaker. You always need playmakers, and the more you can have, the more you can open up your playbook. You might call it just a simple split-end screen, but now you're talking about, a receiver out there by the name of Will Birds. And once he gets his hand on the ball, can run with it.
And right when he's about to kick, I want you guys to split.
He's over 600 yards receiving for the year. Good block on that play by Will Conley, too.
You got to get all your players involved, especially on play side. And downfield, it's not easy to do stock blocking as a receiver, because you got to be careful to let that ball get caught first before you can start creating physical contact. And so once it's caught, now you can start locking on and shielding yourself between the defender and your pass receiver.
So 55 seconds left to go in the first half. Chakota back deep. Along with Whalen, and he's got the football. Little reverse, gets a block. And then tripped up at the 35. Nice open field tackle.
It's interesting that Western Dubuque does a lot of over pursuing. They want to get to the ball, they fly to it, but you got to be careful, especially if you're on the opposite side of where the play's going. You can't over pursue. Fortunately, the kicker was still around to bring him down.
Chakota up to the 40. Carter Kleesner. Big pursuit again. Western Dubuque will get the football to start the third quarter.
I like Chakota. I think he's a fine athlete.
Yep.
good play.
Up the
Good
middle.
play. Hey, good play. Hey, good play.
Munson with another carry. Gets close to midfield, and that'll move the chains.
It's the veer play. That's what happens. You know, you pick up 1 or 2 yards every couple plays, and then you break a big one for 9. Watch this, right off the left tackle. There's the handoff. There's nobody there. No defensive end, no linebacker, so you got to hand it off. You already got positive yardage.
So timeout. With 2 seconds left to go. Murphy.
We try it again.
They give it another go, it looks like. As you mentioned, that wind out of the south is at his back. He's got a terrific leg anyway.
Well, this is going to be spotted at the 42. That's 58. A 68-yard attempt here.
Then we are diving into the record books.
Absolutely. Gosh, I hope you think that would be the new record for a Marion field goal attempt.
So that wind at his back.
It's from the southeast, so if he can angle it, if he can kick it, you know, off would be to the right of the uprights and let that wind just drift it back across. If he can get enough power, get enough leg into it.
Yeah, still around 15 miles per hour. And Murphy just slings it. Maybe a little out of his range.
I ask you, was that a fake?
I think so.
Okay, good, I feel better.
Good, me too. So that'll do it for the first half. Number 1, Western Dubuque. 34, the Indians have done some good things. 10. Welcome back to Marion. We are at the half as Western Dubuque, number 1 in Class 3A, leads the Indians 34-10. Let's take a look at our first half highlights.
A lot of them there were to talk about here, Rob, in this first half. Marion with the ball to begin the game and a fumble that was recovered by Western Dubuque, Ben Bryant, and Western Dubuque then would go on and score on the first play that they ran as Ben Bryant runs 20 yards for that touchdown. Made it 7-0 Western Dubuque. On their next possession, here is rolling out as Calvin Harris finds a receiver out there, the name of Thomas DeSolar, for 18 yards. And then it was a touchdown run of 20 by Jackson Berger, 15, excuse me. And then on the next possession by the Marion Indians, they had to punt, but the punt was muffed out there by Will Burge, recovered by the Marion Indians. And Marion would go on down and score. Here's a 13-yard pass completion to Connor Whalen. Dane Karstensen would finish off this possession, and the Marion Indians make it 14-7 at this point. We move into the second quarter. Again, lots of good highlights here. Here is the read option and the handoff to Ben Bryant. He runs in from 5 yards away, and the touchdown on Marion's next possession, interception by Carter Kleesner, returning it deep into Marion Indian territory. And that would be finished off here by a Jackson Berger 5-yard touchdown run, his second of the first half. On the kickoff, Chakota not advancing to get to it. It's recovered by Sawyer Nauman from Western Dubuque. So Western Dubuque would promptly go right for the end zone. And on that next play, Connor Whalen with an interception for the Marion Indians in the end zone. Marion would turn right around and come back. Here's a 44-yard pass completion to C.J. Anderson from Dane Karstensen. And just before the end of half, a 55-yard field goal. Jaffer Murphy, as you see, head coach Tim Lovell celebrating with Murphy and that Marion sideline. But Western Dubuque comes right back. They score on that split-end bubble screen to Will Birds. That's covered some yardage, Rob, and just back and forth. Good running, good passing by both of these teams. Good ball control. Unfortunately for the Indians, 34-10 the lead for the Western Dubuque Bobcats.
Both teams moving the ball, and you see how balanced the Bobcats are. 156 passing, 119 rushing for 275. Marion balanced as well at 181 yards. Total offense, 5 penalties for 30 yards. Tim Lovell would say that's too many, but look at time of possession. That's a good thing that the Indians have done, is that they've been able to hold on to the football and keep that Western Dubuque offense, at least at times, over on the sideline, but they have certainly used their offensive opportunities to their advantage, and that's why they put 34 points on the board. Before we go to break, let's listen in to the Marion Indians marching band. Welcome back to Marion. Rob Brooks and Jerry Koala as we get set for third quarter action. Number 1 Western Dubuque against the Indians. Marion won the toss and took the ball first, so Murphy will kick off. Ben Bryant back deep, and we're underway here in the third. And that'll be a touchback. A lot of good things. Really, both offenses did, Jerry, in the first half, and Western Dubuque showed a lot of weapons. As Jake Hush out, not playing tonight. Harris, DeSoler, Birds, Plessel, Bryant, all heavily involved in the offense.
Absolutely. Shown that's why they're the number 1 ranked team in Class 3A on the short end of things, and even they had a nice long possession of 80 yards to score.
And they'll start on the ground, and this is Bryant. It's away from the line of scrimmage.
They run hard. They're nice and choppy with their run. They get to the space that they're supposed to run through, and they get through it. They don't mess around. They don't dance around, but they are getting a lot of help up front with that offensive line.
Done a terrific job.
They have.
Toss on the stop for the Indians. And here's Bryant down the sideline again. He split time in the first half. Along with Jackson Berger, keeping running backs fresh, a 36-yard run.
Just, again, he's just finding the gaps to run through, and then he knows how to turn it on. To outrun the defense.
And now Berger, and he might have got back to the line of scrimmage.
Here's Berger off the left side. The coach doing a nice job of fighting off the block on him, getting to the legs of the running back. Keeping it to a short game.
Pickup of 1. Berger steamrolls ahead. Wagner along with McAllister.
It's a tough yard to pick up right here. Marion's doing a nice job of getting into those gaps. Sometimes on those quick hitters, they're through the line of scrimmage. This time they're having to find areas to run through. Marion's doing a nice job of plugging those holes.
Wagner, good size at 6'5", 235. Here's Bryant. Gets to the outside. Sure tackle by Connor Whalen.
But not before he picks up some significant yards.
Yeah, so runs of 36 and now 28.
Off that right side, just not bringing him down. He does a nice job to stiff arm Chakota at the line of scrimmage.
Western Dubuque on the 6-yard line. Falling forward again, Bryant.
It's a matter of getting leverage in there, though, from defensive tackle to nose to defensive tackle. Gain leverage, get lower than that offensive lineman. Don't let him move you, because once he pushes you around, gives that running back a chance to go through the line of scrimmage.
And Wagner right there to tackle him again. And this time, Bryant is into the end zone for a touchdown. Terrific blocking and a lot of Bryant. 7 plays, 80 yards to start the third quarter.
This is what they're known for. They can make it. They can get bigger yardage deep when they want to, and they can just run the football down the field and eat up clock when they have to score. But either way, they score.
Ulrich. And he's back on the right track as far as extra points. Only missed one tonight, 5 on the entire year. Pretty effective drive. 7 plays, 80 yards. We stayed up 238.
Let's move the ball downfield, doing a nice job of being productive, and that's what it's going to take for this Western Dubuque team to get back to that goal of taking home the gold instead of the silver.
When you get there and you lose a championship, nothing to hang your head about being runner-up, but boy, when you get that taste, you certainly want to get back there, and that fuels the off-season. Just makes everybody work a little bit harder, be a little bit more together. And then now here you've got just a little bit less than a year, another opportunity to do it again, but it's not given to you. You've got to go earn it, and it's sometimes difficult to get back. Short kick, fielded by McAllister.
Didn't want to turn himself into a running back at that point.
Just hang on to the football.
Yeah, I think, with Western Dubuque, I think the emotional win over Xavier last week certainly deflated them a little bit. I'm sure that head coach Justin Penner had to really work them to get back into that swing of things for this game.
Indians right up the middle. Unson. It's a tough carries in between the tackles.
Because there's still a lot of season to play. That game last Friday certainly was a revenge game from not only the championship game from a year ago in 3A, but the regular season game during midseason last year when Xavier shut them out 35-0. So if those two teams, are destined to meet again, which it looks as if it could happen.
Very well could happen. Marstonson on the move. Will reverse. He's open up briefly, and then he is Brought down by Will Conlon.
Boy, does Conlon have some speed or what?
Yes, he does. He's had a terrific night.
You're watching him as he goes through the line of scrimmage to get to the running back on a left or right play. But this one, he chases down Carstensen. Dane does a nice job to roll out to his right. Nobody to throw to downfield. All these linebackers have some speed. And now you'll see Conlon come into your picture right here. Once he gets his hands on you, you're down. It's a rough way to pick up 3 yards.
He's done a good job from an inside linebacker's position. Rush out. Others have had to step up. Dakota back to Carstensen. A little trickery there for Indians. Not work out, and that brings up 4th down.
Western Dubuque read it very nicely. We're not at all sold on the sweep action to the right. On the backside, you've got to stay home. You've got to watch out for awkward things. Why would Carstensen, if I'm a cornerback, Carstensen's running back to his left side. I wonder if they might be doing something. Oh, sure, here comes that throwback pass. And that's just good awareness by that defense.
So Murphy on to punt. About a 32-yard average. Only grass field in the Cedar Rapids, Marion metro area.
Oh, go out!
And this will bound out of bounds inside the 5-yard line. Terrific kick by Murphy. Bring it out to the 7. 53 yards. He's had a big night.
He's got a lot of leg about him, doesn't he?
Sure does. But I guess anybody that follows soccer at all, you know that name.
Look at that smile. Nice kid.
I saw that man off the line, and I'm like, whoever's trying to
And that's one of the things, the tough season that Marion's had. Losing's no fun. And try to just, especially for those seniors, keep it fun. And still try to get your work done and be accountable. The Tim Lovell program certainly be run that way. Berger brought down by Gibson. Because Marion's had 3 pretty good seasons. Had a real opportunity a couple of years ago to go 7-2 or better. Ended up 6-3. Lost the last game of the regular season to Davenport Assumption at Brady Street. Otherwise, they would have been district champs and been in the playoffs.
Just tells you how much from week to week the competition is at the upper level. Calvin Harris, really the first time we've seen him run here tonight. Good teams can wait till the second half to get their quarterback involved. You've got 3 good running backs tonight, and their best running back isn't even playing.
Harris, the deep ball, incomplete. Solar, helped up by Whalen.
Just put you right up play action. Let your receiver run right underneath it. And he throws it towards the sideline. If he throws it downfield, it may give his receiver a chance to sprint past the defensive back and come up with some kind of a catch where he's stretched out.
He, even at that angle, could have hauled that in. He did have a foot down. But point well taken. A little bit up instead of out. Back to the ground game that has been so effective for the Bobcats.
Yeah, they're just content to keep it on the ground and run, move the chains, maybe throw the token pass now and then.
And getting some guys like Berger and Bryant some carries. This will probably be the most times they've carried the football all season. Bryant 53 coming into tonight. But Hush was over 100 through 7 weeks. Not too many third downs for Western Dubuque tonight. And this ball slung too high. Solar could not come up with it. And that'll bring up fourth down for the Bobcats.
You see some of the accuracy that Calvin Harris has, being a catcher that he is. You know, throw that ball down to second base, back the pitcher over to third base. You have to use that same style of throw out here on the football field. And he does throw it pretty hard. Obviously, that a little high out of the hands of DeSoler. But you can tell that he's, you know, that Harris really has a nice arm about him and accurate.
I've seen him play baseball. It is really accurate, and it does hit to get to second base in a hurry. Hunt takes a little bit of a Bobcat bounce, and it'll be first and 10 Marion. After a 27-yard boot. Ulrich doing all the kicking duties, had a terrific night punting the football against North Scott earlier this year.
Well, Western Dubuque has had to go through some pretty good battles to get even to this point. You know, with their district alone, and then outside the district, including North Scott.
Unson. Maybe two. Gauman on the stop.
He does off the right side, just simple dive action over top of the guard. Western Dubuque having 2 and 3 players around him as he gets through that line of scrimmage.
Second down and 8 for the Indians. Here's the keeper by Karstensen. Follows his lead block for a few more. We'll set up third and medium.
Well, if I'm Dane, I'm handing that ball off a lot because there's nobody there to take your dive back on that veer play. Hand it off, hand it off, hand it off until that defense is now zeroed in on the handoff, and then the next time after 4 or 5 of them, you can pull it, run around that corner, and then you've got your option pitch from there.
Third and 5. Karstensen drops straight back, wants to go deep, and incomplete. Whalen, the intended receiver. Colin Hogan back there defensively for the Bobcats.
Just a little bit underthrown by Dane. Good target, good choice to throw it to Connor Whalen because he had a step on the defensive back. He throws it downfield. He hits Connor in stride. He might have a chance to get 6 out of that.
So Murphy on to punt. He did go for it on 4th down several times in the first half. High snap. Oh, kick. And this one may be pinned at the 1-yard line. Not a punt that would be easy to field at all. 51 yards.
Takes over, first and 10.
He's got such velocity on his leg swing, you know, that leg whip. That's what gives him the drive on that ball because the ball doesn't get up in the air very much.
And it's always end over end.
And it's a line drive kick, and it does go end over end. And fortunately for the Indians, they were able to keep it from going in the end zone and downing it deep into Western Dubuque territory.
How about that bounce he got at the 5-yard line? Just went straight up in the air.
There's a big situation for the Indian defense.
Harris gets rid of it, and incomplete. Tried to find Will Birds on an out route.
Harris's pass intended.
We had Plessel right there in a curl route that was wide open as well.
second
But I
half.
like that play when you get your quarterback and roll him out. Roll him out. You don't want to keep him back in that dangerous spot deep in his own end zone where he could get sacked.
Harris has thrown for over 150 yards tonight. Here's Berger. And he is met right at the line of scrimmage.
Ball carrier.
So Justin Penner over there, he's running in his plays with Jackson Berger and with Ben Bryant. You know, both those running backs. That's who he's running plays in with. I've been noticing that. And I mention that because they're already running a lot the way it is when they get on the football field, but then they have to run another 35 to 40 yards to the sideline to get a play.
Trevor Coffrin, a nice defensive play for the Indians. Across the middle, incomplete. Olsen on the coverage of Brocius.
Well, just out of his reach. See Calvin in his end zone. And Brocius will come from his left to right on a post route. See that just out of his reach. Nice coverage out there by the Indians. Anderson with the, Ryan Paulson on that coverage. Here's a dangerous situation. The punter's, he's got to be careful not to come down on the end line. And he's 10 yards back of the ball. Usually he's at 15.
And the snap very important. Gets it away. Let it bounce. How about that punt? And getting a 3 and out. Now winning the battle of field position.
Good job. 2 in a row. Good job. Good job, Trevor. 2 in a row. Build on it. That a boy.
Just 29 yards. The key thing is to get rid of it.
No, I'd have put all 11 guys up on the line of scrimmage. You know, he's punting from deep in his end zone. You don't anticipate him to punt at 50 to 60 yards. Would have gone after it, because you're still going to end up with decent field position and not ever have to worry about a muffed punt or something.
Couple of yards for the Indians. Hudson with the carry.
He's got to be rugged in there, boy. He's got to run lower to the ground because he's going to get hit, and those offensive linemen are pushing those defensive linemen back. It's the linebackers that are the ones that are going to get you the most. You got to be ready to create contact with those linebackers as they come in to create contact with you. That's the difference between a 2-yard gain and a 4 or 5-yard gain with the veer.
Still picking the grass out of his face mask. Chakota tries to find a hole and hits it just outside the 25. Nauman, junior, another tackle.
Really like the way these linebackers flow. Nauman, as well as William Conlon, as we talked about, they get left and right. That pitch was going to Chakota off the right side, and all of a sudden Sawyer Nauman laterally moves, and then he gets his angle on Chakota to keep it to a short gain.
Third and 4. And whistles blow the play dead. This will go on the Indians. More than likely 4-down territory. So you like 3rd and 4. 3rd and 9, not insurmountable, but
no,
tougher.
You know, I almost like 3rd and 9 better because I knew I was going to throw the ball. You got the wide side of the field to your left, roll Dane out to his left and look for a receiver. And if you don't have that pass, then you've got the run.
Well, most would like 3rd and 4 much better. Timeout, Indians. Talk this one over. We'll be back. after the Indians talk it over. 1:26 left to go here in the third. Now 3rd and 9 after the 5-yard walk-off. Hurstenson goes deep and incomplete. Whalen was there, but well covered.
Yeah, he threw that in the triple coverage, and if he was going to complete that, it would have had to been all the way to the back of the end zone. It had to have been a perfect pass. But this is a play action. It allowed the receivers to get downfield. You know, I like Dane. He's definitely a risk taker and not afraid to throw that football. Sometimes quarterbacks won't throw that ball for whatever reason, and especially because there's good coverage.
Well, he had to come on and pitch in some tough situations for the Indians. They got to the Final Four of the state baseball tournament, the semifinals. So here's Murphy. Plenty of leg, and it's right through. Good from 47.
Yeah, just a chip shot, considering he made a 55-yarder already today. That was a good snap and a hold. Got a nice approach, and boy, can he drive it.
So Murphy having quite a night. And really good for the Indians that have had a tough time scoring points this year. Put 13 on the board against the #1 team in the state.
Kind of had a struggle all season long offensively. Tonight's probably been some of their best offensive production. And again, against the #1 team in Class 3A.
Able to make some big plays early in the season against West Delaware. Scored over 20 points in that ball game. But when you have good drives or you win the field position battle, you can get a kicker like that out on the field. He just hasn't had that many opportunities, just 4 attempts so far this year. Before tonight.
I just wonder how many times they had the ball in the same position where they decided not to go for a field goal and they elected either to go for it or punt it away.
Yeah, because you're mostly behind at this stage of the game and trying to get touchdowns on the board. Harris hands off to Bryant.
Marion's doing a nice job of stringing out plays. They're not getting blown off the ball as they were much in that first half. I think they're holding their own when that offensive line comes off the ball, so they're neutralizing it, and it's not allowing any openings to be created for Bryant or for Berger to run through.
Offren, another stop in the middle of that Marion defense. And here is Bryant. This time he's able to break free and almost turns the corner. Gets out close to midfield. Whalen on the stop. Pickup of 22.
Well, as I said, they're doing a nice job in that offensive line, making great holes. Bryant this time just runs by the offensive lineman who had pulled in front of him. He saw that opening, just burst right through it.
Well, you can't have the running game that Western Dubuque has put together without having a pretty good group up front.
Bryant, the ball carrier.
Bryant again. Carter Scott with the stop for the Indians, and zeros on the clock, and that will end the third quarter of play. Fourth quarter, Western Dubuque on the move when we come back. So Western Dubuque in command here, 41-13. Face Makokata, final regular season game of the season next week. Berger. Dakota on the stop.
It's kind of a steamroll forward, get behind that offensive line. Penalty marker back in the defensive backfield.
Face mask against the Indians. Indians have played hard tonight.
They really have. I've been impressed with their determination. For an 0-7 football team, it'd be easy to just go through the motions and let things go.
This team hasn't done that tonight.
Given everything they have, you know, we talked to Coach Lovell before the game, and he has been happy with what they've done in preparation for each game.
Just trying to get better every week, and I would say they've made some strides this week. Berger continues to pound the middle. Been mostly on the ground here in the second half for Western Dubuque.
Yeah, we won't see any passes probably the rest of this football game, and they don't have to. I even think in a more competitive game, I think the running game is probably their go-to play anyway.
Yeah, last week, rushed for 151 and threw for 67. Birds.
The pass from Harris complete to number 31.
It's a pass play.
Will Bird.
That's his 6th reception of the ball game.
And you can see how they use him. They get that ball out to the outside and let him use that space because it was speed and his power. And he can get around through a single defensive back and defender without having to have too much help. Man, you see a little bit of face mask there.
I thought the flag was going to come out, but it didn't. Bryant twists and turns his way to the 5-yard line.
Gain of about 6 on the play. That's a Western first down, 1st and goal at the 5.
Bobcats. And into the end zone is Ben Bryant. Good job controlling the line of scrimmage up front.
All their touchdowns, Rob, have been on short yards runs. You know, so they work it downfield, work it downfield, work it downfield, left and right, inside, outside, and they end up with a 5-3-yard touchdown run.
Aldridge for the extra point. See the wind still blowing. He punches it right through.
Kick by Ulrich is good.
Take another look.
So it's just a read option play, hands right off. He saw the opening for Ben Bryant to get to. That's their bread and butter. So that's his 4th touchdown run of the night. 5 yards, 3 yards. 20 is the longest. He's had
3 touchdowns coming in.
2 5s, a 3-yard, and a 20-yard touchdown run for Ben Bryant. So you see with this offense, they're just efficient, and they just power the ball downfield.
And came in tonight averaging 6 yards per carry.
So they don't do things in an explosive manner, not that they cannot. It's just that they're far more productive and efficient the way they go about it.
On the 20, right in the middle. 20 in the middle.
You know, and who says that the running game hasn't really been exploited? In all the games that we have seen, you know, they might be, you know, getting into spread offensive formations, using that read option. They're just, teams are just continuing to run the football, knowing how important it really is, but just in a different style.
Here's the kick. Returnable. Whalen. Whistle blows. I don't like that. That's to keep going. Fight for that extra yard or two.
Yeah, nothing up the middle, so he tried to get to the outside and ran into some more white jerseys. It's been a nice effort by Marion, as we alluded to moments ago.
Key thing is, they've done some things to build, especially offensively. 35-point advantage. There's a continuous clock. Dave Karstensen.
Watch crack.
Done a terrific job at quarterback. Still looking. And then is engulfed.
Just gotta go, Dane.
Hofstetter. That time just took too much time. Just couldn't find anybody open downfield.
Just ran out of time. It wasn't as if the pressure was getting to him, and by the time he was looking to throw the ball all the way downfield to Connor Whalen, he was too far down for him to throw that far.
Marion has had 6 players throw at least one pass this year. Talked about Wyatt Cannon. Wyatt Paulson has thrown the ball 10 times. Cannon 42. Karstensen has done a nice job at quarterback.
He manages things very nicely. Gets the ball, does his job as well as a quarterback, depending on the play that's being run, but he's deceptive with his fakes. Throws a nice ball. Receivers have been catching the balls nicely tonight. We've seen Connor Whalen catch a number of them.
C.J. Anderson, a really nice catch down the sideline. Karstensen fires, and it's picked off. Diving catch by Plessel.
It was underthrown. Plessel really the only player there, but he had to go down to just above the turf to pick it up. Again, another play action. Over the outstretched arms of Carter Kleesner. And then he underthrows his intended receiver out there, Wyatt Cannon.
And that's his 3rd pick of the season.
I would think that Western Dubuque looks as if they've brought in a different quarterback.
DeSoler, backup quarterback. Hands it off to Berger. Dakota down there to make the stop. So DeSoler starts at wide receiver. Now moves into the quarterback role. He's thrown 4 passes this year.
Well, you got to have a backup.
And he's just a junior. Berger.
Berger, the ball carrier. Gain of about 7 on the run. That's good for a Western Dubuque first down.
That'll be a first down for Western Dubuque.
Tackled on the play by Christian Lacoste and Carter Scott.
Seem to be in some kind of a hurry-up offense versus taking their time and using all of the time on the play clock.
Check. St. Jenny.
Fumbled the snap. Sawyer will just take off. And hit by Connor Whalen.
Nice little tap to the
He
sideline.
will deliver a blow.
Just let him know that we saw him running out there on the outside of that formation. Broken play, so immediately you see DeSoler just picking it up. Trying to get something out of what could have been nothing.
Soler out of the shotgun. Left-hander slings it incomplete. Whalen right there.
They know where we are.
With Cam Kleesner.
Intended for number 12, Cameron Kleesner, is incomplete. It'll be 3rd down.
I'll tell you what really makes that offensive line go is their center, Conlon. We've called his name numerous times, but mostly on the defensive side versus the offensive side.
Boy, how hard is he working tonight? Soler turns the corner and get out of bounds.
Ball carrier knocked out of bounds by Chakota.
Around the 10-yard line. Chakota in pursuit.
Looks like he's got a little bit of experience playing quarterback, albeit mostly probably as a sophomore last year on the junior varsity or the sophomore level versus at the varsity level. But again, you got to have that, depth. You got to have someone who's that backup.
Field goal attempt.
Ulrich will tip the field goal.
Ulrich from 28. And tried to get the ball to DeSoler. And that play read nicely by the Marion Indians.
DeSoler was the holder on the play and
1st and 10 Marion at their own 15.
just happened to get away from him. Messes up the timing, and all of a sudden now
You got to take off.
red dog, whatever.
And recognized quickly by Connor Whalen.
Very much so. Connor Whalen been in a lot of plays here tonight,
He has.
offensively and defensively.
Also has that interception earlier. So Marion take a timeout. Get that offense back out on the field. As told you, Western Dubuque, final game against Maquoketa. So look at the points they've given up, Jerry. Just 20 to Williamsburg, then 2, 3, 7 to Wallard, 7 to Center Point Urbana, and then 14 to Xavier. And Marion's put 13 on the board tonight. Well, so you could tell that the points are really difficult to come by.
No question. No question. They say, defenses win championships. They're on a pretty prolific offense. You got the nice combination that can take you to the top.
Well, I told you, West Delaware, Marion put 20 points on the board. Also 10 against Maquoketa. That was a game that turnovers were costly for the Indians. And you see at Center Point, lost here 7-0, a winnable game. And then at Xavier to finish off the season.
Yeah, they really put up a
tough
fight,
district.
Though. Yeah. Put up a good fight, though, here tonight against Western Dubuque.
And you have, like most accounts, the top 2 teams in the state, in your class, in your district.
That didn't happen often at all.
There's a fumble that is recovered by the Bobcats. Off. Setter came away with it. Let's take a look.
Right at the center snap, yep. Sometimes that happens. Quarterback tries to pull out a little bit too quickly and doesn't get a whole firm grip on that football.
Center, right place at the right time.
Harris ball carrier.
Hey, coach, we don't
Shermer.
have an tackle.
Not much there for him. Junior getting a carry.
Kyle Sherman, number 44, the ball carrier.
And the Indians will take their third and final timeout.
Hey, we need a.
I'm looking forward for Marion this year. Certainly has been tough. The freshman sophomore team had a good season. And the lower level middle school numbers are very encouraging. So it's about after the banquet, getting into the weight room and getting that off-season program started. Try to flush this season and look forward in the off-season to get things going for 2020. Join us for Black and Gold Breakdown. Marvin McNutt and Gavin McGrath. Join us on Wednesdays at 7 p.m., Saturdays at 10:30. Get you ready for Iowa Hawkeye Football Saturdays.
Special.
This one gets away, and the ball's still loose. Both teams continue to fight for it. Indians indicate they have it, and they do. So both teams cough it up. And that Marion offense back out on the field. Back just a little bit to the right. Solar couldn't come up with it. Opportunity for both. And the Indians come away with it. That's playing hard. Things happen right down in the last minute of the ball game. And Karstensen will hand it off. That's Ben Gibson. Gibson gets the carry. One of the top linebackers. Shermer on the stop. Ben Gibson an opportunity to touch the football. He gets it again. He's having a good time and wants it some more. So Gibson, the senior, leading tackler for the Indians. Getting some time in the backfield. Karstensen going deep. And a flag comes out even though it's picked off. Colin Hogan. Murphy, the intended receiver. And I believe this is going to be pass interference. Also zeros on the clock. So pass interference will go against Western Dubuque.
Back up. There. Go to Dane. Go to Dane.
walk this. Ball placed at the 46. So the Indians will run one more play. Western Dubuque will move to 8-0. Erstenson. He'll just take off and run out of bounds. And that will do it. Western Dubuque 48, the Marion Indians 13. Final score from Marion tonight. We'll be back with the postgame show on MC22.
High school football on Mediacom MC22 is brought to you by McGrath Family of Dealerships, 5 Seasons Tire, the Tom Riley Law Firm, Klinger Paint and Interiors, Heartland Hearing Center, and by Extreme, powered by Mediacom. Western Dubuque defeats Marion 48-13. Week 8 pushed their record to a perfect 8-0. Let's head down on the natural field here at Marion and join Jerry Koala.
Surrounded by a number of white jerseys, Western Dubuque Bobcats. You can give a hoop whoop. There you go. Look at these guys back here, all right? Not only can they play on the football field, but they can promote themselves as well. We've got Ben Bryant, we've got Calvin Harris, and Will Conlon. Head coach Justin Penner. It was an emotional win over Xavier last week and a large win for this football team, but you know you had a couple games to play. You come out here tonight, it looked like you guys just went about your business as usual.
Yeah, absolutely. After beating North Scott earlier in the year, coming out and going against Waller, we really were lethargic and lacked a lot of emotion. So big point of emphasis tonight was come out and play with some enthusiasm. Felt like we really did that early on.
So you probably going to be close to taking that number 1 seed into 3A playoffs. You got another game to play. But Coach, what's the outlook for this team here now as you go into your final regular season game? Do you think about the seed that you want, or just to get there?
We pay attention to the RPI, of course, but that's beyond our control. We can't control whether or not our opponents win or our opponents win. And so for us, just trying to take care of business. 9-0 has only happened one other time at this school, and so that's really our focus right now.
Defense seemed to be a stout all season long. The offense continues to come along nicely, and it's what leads to championships, or at least championship-type games, which you guys were in a year ago.
Yeah, I thought we had some hiccups defensively tonight. Wish we would have played a little sharper, but, we hadn't run the ball that well all season long, so it was really nice to see the O-line dominate tonight. Yeah,
they did. Okay, Coach, did a nice job. Best of luck to you down the rest of the season. They got Maquoketa next week. All right, now we're going to turn to talk to Calvin Harris. Calvin, this is offense not explosive in so many terms of many long plays, but it manages itself pretty well. How do you like, as a quarterback, being the quarterback on this team?
Yeah, absolutely. Our O-line behind me did a fantastic job tonight. Colin did a great job at center, and Ben did a great job running, along with Jackson Berger. They all did a really good job. It's a lot of fun.
So that win over Xavier last week, very emotional for this team, and was it easy to come out this week and prepare for Marion?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a big win last week, but we just take it 1 week at a time. We came out, we focused on Marion, and we wanted to come out with a lot of energy tonight.
Goals for this year? You guys made it to this championship game a year ago, only getting second place. Looking for that top spot?
Yep, absolutely. That's a goal definitely for us, something we've worked towards all summer. So hopefully something that we can accomplish this year.
All right, Calvin, congratulations.
Thank you.
Senior Calvin Harris, quarterback. Now we're going to turn to Will Conlon. Will, you do double duty tonight, and let's talk about the defensive side of football. These guys are in sync back here. Did you guys work on this before a game? We came up here today. On the defensive side, you and Alman do a really nice job at linebacker. You guys move really well. Is that something that really has been a focal point for this defense?
Of course it has been. Coach Horner does a great job coaching us and telling us to read our keys and do what we are supposed to do. He's a tremendous coach for us, and he tells us what we need to do. This
been as good a defense as you've played on at Western Dubuque in the short time you've been?
You know, I love playing with these guys. I've been playing these guys since I was a little kid. So to go out here and play with them again and again is something I really enjoy.
Now, you never really come off the field because you turn right around and play center, on that offensive line. How much does that give you a boost as well, especially if you come off a nice defensive effort?
Confidence is key. Coming off a big play or a long series, doesn't matter to me as long as I'm contributing to the team and helping us win.
All right, well, congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Will Conlon, linebacker and center on this Western Dubuque football team. Now, the shift behind us, it's kind of like, they know that you're a power hitter to the left, so there's not going to be anybody in right field. Look at these guys back here. Ben Bryant really had a nice game here tonight, but this is a very efficient offense. Is this something that you guys have worked on all season long to be efficient?
Yeah, definitely. We always say we want to take the game one game at a time, and it doesn't matter who it is. We just want to play hard and play Bobcat football.
So Bobcat football regular season ends next Friday. You got the playoffs coming up. What do you guys foresee for this next couple of weeks?
Like we said, I'm just going to take one game at a time, and then we're going to give it our best and hopefully keep on going with the community and hopefully do our best.
All right, Ben, it really is a nice football team you guys have here tonight. I want to wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Senior Ben Bryant as a running back, as you see the display of white jerseys back here with this offensive line. Great cohesive group of young men from Western Dubuque, and they should be very proud. Rob?
Deserve to be on, no doubt about that. And Justin Penner told us we can do some pretty entertaining post-game interviews. I chalked that one up to Coach Penner. Final statistics, you see 303 yards rushing. That's the storyline tonight. Marion ended up with 202 yards, 464 total for the Bobcats. And you can see first downs 19-9, and both teams certainly would want those turnovers back, and especially Western Dubuque going forward. That'll probably be a point of emphasis for Coach Penner this week, getting ready for Maquoketa. Marion at Xavier next week. Thanks to our entire MC22 crew and my broadcast partner, Jerry Koala. Next week, Unidome, Cedar Falls, as the Tigers host the Prairie Hawks. Good night from Marion.